a lonely world.
First piece I usually led with the Shakespeare, I think, and I did Titania from A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh yeah.
And then I paired that with Margaret Cho's stand-up routine.
Right. Okay.
And that always went over well. And then, but sometimes in the earlier stages, I was like, I'm gonna do something serious. So I did something from Haruki Murakami's book called Norwegian Wood, where he writes a bunch of, just his stories are always so compelling, but he writes about classical musicians and their torment, basically, in a really vivid way. You know, artists back in the day, they always had like the royal court, right? Like patrons of the arts to come and support artists. And I think opera singers, this is pretty common, where a sponsor would pay for voice lessons because sometimes it could be like $300 an hour, you know. And so how do you sustain a life like that? It's with the heart of angel donors at your side. You know, it's just like, and that is not something that is taught in schools. You just have to sort of like look for those opportunities and be bold and kind and understanding as you make these asks. But if you don't ask, you're not going to get anything. If you ask, someone might say yes.
It's true. Coming from the West Coast, I didn't have a heavy coat, and so my sponsor also bought me a heavy coat. And people donated like warm clothes. I had snow boots donated to me too.
Goodwill is great. You know,
oh my God, yeah.
Or Housing Works. That's the one that's more like ethically, you know.
Yeah.
Moving was tricky. I was lucky because my ex had a car and he was able to drop me off. But bring as few things as you don't really need much.
Oh my God, you do not need a lot. I promise you, you will never see your apartment, right? No, am I lying?
I left every day at like 7:30 and I wouldn't get home till 11 to work. Yeah, we were the late
night people. I went to the gym and I got up at 5:30 a.m. I was at the gym at 6, leave at 8, be at school at 9, had my protein shake, be ready for whatever the hell we were going to do, breathe, stretch, throw up, I don't know.
Well, you had class from like 9 till 5, 6 p.m. and then we would have rehearsals in the evening.
If you're in a play, if you were lucky to be in a play, then you're there till like 11 or 12 o'clock, like if it was tech week. And
when I wasn't in a show, I still had a lot of things to prepare for the classes that were there instead of the rehearsals for the shows. So I was often there till 10, 11, because I don't know, and also this is where like my classical piano training came in handy. I practiced 8 hours a day. I never wanted to do that, so I like opted out of that lifestyle, but I can spend 8 hours in rehearsals for a play, like that's no problem. You know, that's fun for me, because there's a variety of things you could do. We would sometimes have like movement classes with tests that, you know, or movement benchmarks, so we would have to be strong and flexible. It was just a way to measure how we progressed as movers.
Can you sing and while holding this position
and then do a different character and then,
remember your lines and
that's unique to Harvard A.R.T. I really truly believe in the 2 years we were able to get the full 3 or 4 year experience, because what I've heard from other people who went to other programs, their third year is usually reserved for being in productions. So you learn the foundations in the first 2 years and then you start doing productions. You might be an understudy in the first 2 years, but 3, 4 are when you're focused on doing more just work on stage, but also like on camera and networking opportunities, and sometimes you work in New York. You know, so it's like your performance opportunities begin in your third year. But in A.R.T, they have you do that from the first year, and so first year is mostly training. Second year
we also started earlier too than most grad schools.
Oh yeah, we
started in the summer.
August, this wonderful Russian teacher named
Igor
and
Alex.
Our wonderful translator. And also Ilya was there too. Ilya to visit. So these amazing
a lot of
Russian
visitors. That's training. Moscow tattooed on my arm. I didn't show you this.
Moskva. That's beautiful.
I'm gonna get
That's new,
Moscow.
huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna get Moscow.
Oh my gosh, Chris. That's amazing. I'm just scared.
I don't know yet. Moscow.
It's beautiful.
This is a bracelet also from the graduation. Yes.
This.
For Black graduation, they gave gifts as we walked out.
Beautiful.
And I will not take it off. Everyone kiss my butt.
Oh my gosh. You want to kiss your butt? I'll do it.
The reason why we call each other cuz is because we did a play together. It was Lynn Nottage's play, By the Way, Meet Vera Stark. and I really wanted to do this play. And when Laura and I had never worked together, and I was like, Laura, I got this play, and we did it. And like, dude, remember when we first did it in class, and like the class like busted out? We did this scene. I can't remember.
It's really funny. So,
Yeah. So by the way, meet Veristar. It's a really
it's
good
a
play.
great play.
Also,
we did a ballet together. A lot of people go and train at the Moscow Art Theater, and they get anything Moscow, and we call it Mahat for short, but like they get like Mahat tattoos. Moscow is great because that's where Stanislavski developed his method, along with Chekhov as the playwright, and they started this Moscow Art Theater Company.
And I'm pretty sure in any grad school that you go to in the U.S., you're gonna study Stanislavski. Like you're gonna learn some in Chekhov, tons of Chekhov.
And we learned that a lot of what Stanislavski intended to teach early on, like he shifted his methodology halfway through his career, and so the way Americans teach it now is sort of the old-fashioned way. And so we got to learn like how Stanislavski really intended for this method to be passed on, and it was really useful. They're very detail-oriented. A lot of their theater training is physical theater, so you have ballet class, fencing class, acrobatics class.
This was when we were in Moscow. For me, what I remember, what it forced me to do was to be creative and to come up in the writing and to get into that Mosa mood. Because I'm telling you right now, what I'm doing right now and what you guys see, is everything that I do to help people is because of the Moscow training, like Igor, and like sending me home to like, you need to go home and think of this and bring it back tomorrow. It needs to have execution and like why, what, when, like you need to explain all that to us tomorrow. So like, because of that is why I'm doing this. And I have gone through so much, like this summer after I'm kind of skipping, but like after graduating, I haven't talked to you about this, but like after graduating from grad school, like I literally went into like the worst depression that I've ever been in. I wasn't creative and I didn't feel like reading. I didn't want to audition. I didn't get accepted by like any manager or agency.
That's so crazy because you're so castable. It really doesn't matter. Like people who
doesn't matter.
So Showcase is such an important part of the graduate school experience because that's the only thing that the outside world really gets to see almost. So much emphasis put on this like short little thing, but really the most important thing for me was the 2 years of training. It's fascinating how everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's like this competition, like I got this many offers, I didn't get any offers. Like none of that really matters because if it doesn't lead to work. We all have
phone calls.
Yeah.
I feel like I had phone calls. I had meetings set up when we got back from, I think, LA and New York. I remember a lot of us were like auditioning, but I feel like they like to do this to see what we look like on camera, like readable. Like
have like practice self-tapes, for shows like I've already been cast.
Yeah.
Which I personally
with like A-list stars, like, because then like a month later you'd be like, so Ben Affleck is he's just like, I just read for this.
The whole point of all this is like you want to get into this world because you love the craft and it's so cliche, but it's so true, right? If you are in it because you want to be in a TV show and be famous, that's never going to give any sort of fulfillment to anybody.
That was me. That was my mindset when I first moved to LA.
It's like
I want to be famous,
right? It's like no, you want to get into this because you want to form an indescribable, unbreakable bond with a group of people that you will never have this kind of experience with anywhere else. Like if you could do a long-term show, it's still not going to be this intense, immersive experience that you would have with your grad school peers, right? Any kind of conservatory training. You become close, and here's another cliche, but it's like your family, right? It's like your theater fam. There are like love relationships and hate relationships, and
you're gonna love your classmates one day, and then the next day
you're like, I can't stand you.
Oh my God! Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Oh my gosh, your birthday!
Oh my God!
Let's go have a drink.
Yeah,
come on.
Like that. No matter how much time passes, you have the shared experience that's never gonna go away. So that's important. I did 3 months in LA right after graduating because I have family there, and I was like, let me try this out.
You did 3 months there?
Yeah, I had a couple of auditions, and they went well, and I was like, this is interesting. Cool, maybe I could do this. The moment I got back to New York, I was like, oh, this feels like home because and also I had 7 auditions in like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, this feels more right to me because in addition to my appointments, I was going to EPAs, which they don't have as many EPAs, which are equity principal auditions those like theater opportunities. They don't have as many of those in LA. So in New York, if you're bored, you're like, oh, my agent's not calling me, or like, how do I get an audition? You can still go and show up and go to these auditions, and they became like little reunions. And so I got to see friends I hadn't seen in 2 or 3 years, and then they were like, you're back. I want voice lessons. So I'm lucky because I get to teach piano and like voice, and so that whole community got revived as soon as I got back to New York. And then 2 different people that were alumni from our program reached out to me, and they're like, hey, I'm doing this like new show, do you want to be a part of it? And so it became like this collaborative effort, as opposed to like waiting for the best TV or commercial audition and like booking it, because booking it is so rare. I don't know, some people are like a booking machine, but most people I don't think are, and it's easy to feel dejected because you think you're that one, like 0.1% that gets to book everything. No,
so that's like why I also started doing my own thing.
Totally.
And that in my family, every time I go home or every time my mom calls, are you auditioning? She doesn't ask me anymore. She sees what I show her videos of what I'm doing. And I'm just like I really like creating my own stuff. But this is what I like to do. Like I like to come up with like different content. I'm tasting different things right now. I'm thinking of myself as a media like type of company.
That's why when you go out into the real world and you're like, I'm working 3 day jobs, and then now I got this pilot audition and I have to memorize 20 pages. No, not 20, like 9. Right? It's like, but you do it. You're like working out on your treadmill, and you're like reading, and then you're on the subway like listening to your lines and like running the lines, and you're on waiting tables and running the lines still. But I would recommend finding a day job that doesn't suck your soul. Like preferably something where you can make more money for fewer hours, right?
Or learn how to sell stuff.
Like, a good fit for me was teaching, so I'm lucky that I was able to like teach. I started tutoring. Certainly having Harvard on my resume made parents, you know, put me on a different tier of like, oh, she is a Harvard educated tutor versus any old tutor that with an undergraduate degree. You know, having a master's degree was really important for me, and that was something I was like afraid to do and didn't think I ever had enough money to do and didn't think I needed for an acting career. So I always put that aside, but now that I have it, I have had so many opportunities open up to me that I went like seeking those opportunities. So it was like a combination of having these resources that are now available to us, but you actually have to research and like go searching for those things. Finding a day job that gives you the flexibility to be an actor is one of the biggest challenges. So there are resources, but I think every individual needs to find their own thing that works for them. I tried catering. I did not like it, but I have friends who swear by catering. That's all they will do. People who have like huge movie credits and multiple Broadway credits, they'll go back to catering every time. I'm just gonna do it.
Do you have a favorite moment or a learning experience in grad school?
I think overall having back-to-back classes that were all different things and learning to switch gears and be prepared for that next thing that's about to happen. Just like learning to prepare a role or prepare for anything that's like coming up right there when you're already doing a ton of other things leading up to it. That was the biggest lesson, I think. It's a culmination of all of that, because now I can be like teaching SAT classes and then suddenly I'm like, oh, but I have an audition in an hour, you know, and it's like, before I would have been like, no, cancel my classes, I need to focus on my audition. Now it's like, no, I'm just going to do it, and it doesn't matter. And I think before I used to put so much emphasis on each and every audition, and it had to be perfect, and if I got one word wrong, I would beat myself up the whole day. No, you want to get to the point where you're just like, I'm doing so many auditions, I don't even care. And sometimes if you look at celebrity audition tapes, they're like looking at their page a lot. As long as you like, this is a Margie Haber thing too. Like you're just like, most people don't stare and talk like this, right? You're just like, I don't know, maybe I'm doing a little reading here, but then as soon as I land on you, and I listen to you while you're talking to me, it looks like real conversation. So these are like techniques I've developed over time, so I don't have to be like super stressed about lines when they come in last minute. Learning how to self-tape, the more you do it, the better it'll be, the easier and the quicker, you know, it'll get done. But like, self-taping is an art form that you can definitely learn, and I learned what my best angles were and like where my camera needs to be, getting the best ring light, like things like that. Good books that you should read are Self-Management for Actors by Bonnie Gillespie or Gillespie, I think. Jenna Fisher has a great book too.
Jenna Fisher?
Yeah, from The
How
Office.
I know her?
Oh, yeah. Those books I highly recommend. Just talking about like taking care of yourself as an actor and knowing you're in this long term. It's not like you're gonna have this like flash success, and even if you do book a pilot, like to get to the next level of like it getting picked up and then that doing well and being, you know, renewed for another season. Like these are all like winning the lottery each step of the way. So if you are relying on those like freak accidents to find happiness, you're never going to find it, right? So I think the important thing is learning how to be happy with what you have right now that you are 100% in charge of. So that's why this creating work thing, you are in total control, and it's like beautiful because you're still creating, you're still acting.
And I am also trying to like still tell my
to the world,
like be
tell your
truthful.
Story. Yeah. Anyway, you're in for a treat. First season. Hello. Learning people skills, learning how to read another person, because acting, another cliche, right? Acting is reacting. That whole thing is all about knowing
listening,
what is being given to you.
Breathing
like if you're a human being and you walk through life, you should be pretty good at reading vibes.
Oh yeah, we did a ballet
together. You're not going to survive, right? And so like that's what acting teaches you, is because you only can be truthfully reacting if you are receiving 100% what the other person's giving you.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing you learn. This is another thing, right? If you really want something badly enough and you really work hard at it, you can make some of your dreams come true. Like I always wanted to be a ballerina.
It was her first time dancing. Oh,
yeah,
wait, sorry, go.
Yeah, I've never had the opportunity. Like I never danced as a kid. You know, this is something I like. Like I love ballerinas and I love how graceful, and being a classical musician, I'm like hearing this kind of music and living in this sort of world. And so then I was like always taking ballet classes like recreationally. Ever since I was like 21, I went to Steps and, you know, did the work study thing, and I tried to take as many ballet classes as possible. But I got a late start, so I'm never going to catch up to these ballerinas, right? And my best friend works for the American Ballet Theater, and so it's like she's always been an inspiration and my muse, and I just like go watch her, and then I like fantasize that I am her. Not really, I'm not that crazy. But so at Harvard, there was a really cool collaboration that happened between a woman who was in the dance department, graduate dance
Princess
program.
Latoya Jackson.
Yeah. Right now, I've just like been very lucky, like filling my life up with activities that bring me a lot of joy. Like there was a yoga class here at the Harvard Club that I love. So that's already like 1 hour of the day that I know, like guaranteed, if I go, I'm gonna feel great afterwards, right? And I usually pair it with like a half hour, like jog on the elliptical where I read a fun play or like watch a fun little clip. So it's like I'm still doing research, but I'm also doing something good for my body. Just finding ways to like, and it's really tough because we're like needing to be self-motivated all the time about this, right? So I put things in place. Like my yoga class is immovable. Like that must happen. I get annoyed at little things because I'm like, these are like, this is like the rules of my life and I want to follow them. But I'm also really forgiving. So if it's like, oops, I didn't do that. I used to beat myself up and feel like a failure, but it's like, oh no, I couldn't do that. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge that I didn't do that. And then I can now move that here. Perfect, taken care of. And then I don't look back because you can only look forward. So
you're going to learn so much about yourself in grad school.
Yeah, but also find the things that make you happy. And if that
don't go right after high school. Go be a go-herder or something.
Don't go to school after high school. You
Pick
have
some
a year to like be an intern at some place.
Volunteer. Shelter.
But also like be curious about the things that are happening in your environment, and because this Harvard Club is great, and they offered lectures that you could go to, and I didn't take advantage of it earlier on when I was a member, but now I'm going to every single one that I can because I just like love learning from people who are just the top of whatever field that they're in, even if it has nothing to do with acting. It's fascinating. Right?
Laura, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, actually, she's a super email person, but I'll put her contact info. And especially if you want coaching or like vocal coaching, or she does a lot. I'll put all that in the link below. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
bring
doing
your love
this.
to Jesse's party and we'll all do it together. Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye. Good luck with auditioning or whatever even if you decide to do something else, like
do what you love.
Do what you love.
Do what you love. That's all you can do.